Oh, I should tell the story of how Merlick and I got kicked out and then back into a water park. So, this is good, this is good. So basically, my birthday, which I streamed for, was shit because I got sick and I couldn't do anything. And so he felt bad and he was like, well, I'm gonna get us tickets to this water park. And I was like, okay, cool. And so he got free tickets. What he did not tell me was that it was his aunt who happened to have tickets that expired in 2016. And so we have 2 tickets that are 6 years expired, and we're like, okay, we gotta try using these because it'll be funny. And if you know, if they don't work, whatever, we'll pay our way into the park. We'll make it do what it do. And we get to the park, and we get to where they would normally... I thought that we were at the place where they would check tickets. And so we go through. The guy who checks bag... by the way, I had a bag full of, like, our swimsuits and shit. And the guy who checks bags just looks at our bag. He didn't look in our bag. Looked at the bag, looked back at us, nodded, and said, "You're good." Like... I could have brought not that I would ever do this, but I could have brought a loaded fucking gun into there. Like, do your fucking job? Question mark? You're there for a reason? Then we walk past the person who I thought was checking tickets. She just looks at us and nods, and we go in, and we're in the park. We're in the park. No one looked at our expired tickets. We were there. We were like, cool, whatever, not gonna question it. And so we go... Stop. Only 30% of you are subscribed to this channel. So make sure to hit the red subscribe button before continuing. Oh, and make sure to follow me on Twitch for several fun streams per week, link in description. Thanks! Back to the video. And so we get a locker for our swimsuits, and I shouldn't say it was a water park slash theme park, and so there were like rides and shit, but there were also water rides. Okay, so we're in the park, we get a locker, throw our stuff in it, so he has... Who's in my house? Anyways, we have a key to the locker, so we have like proof that we were in the park. And so we're like, okay, what do we want to do? We want to go on this ride. It was one of those spinning chair rides. You kind of go up and the chairs spin in a circle, and you know. And we wait in line for maybe 10 minutes or so, and we realize that... We did not realize. We try to go on the ride, and the guy's like, "Where are your wristbands?" We're like, "What?" And at that exact moment, that's when I realized everyone around us had wristbands. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together. Murloc did, because Murloc had been to the park before. I had never been to that park. And he put 2 and 2 together. I didn't, and we didn't really talk. He just kind of let me figure things out. And so what I thought... No, I don't. What I thought was that the tickets got you into the park, and you had to buy a wristband to go on rides. Okay, sure, whatever. And so I find the nearest employee, which happened to be, I found the nearest person that's working at the park happened to be a gift shop clerk. Do I have this? I do. And I'm like, hey, where do we get wristbands? And she kind of gave us a weird look. And then she's like, well, you can go to the ticketing booth in the park. And at first I'm like, why the fuck is there a ticketing booth in the park? But whatever. And she'd give us directions to get there, and so we go there, and we go up to the person manning the booth, and we're like, all right. Oh, and it's funny because Murloc put his fucking ticket in the locker. So the 2 of us are in the park with 1 ticket that expired 6 years ago with no wristbands. And so we go up to her, we're like, are we supposed to have wristbands? Where would we have gotten wristbands? And she's like, do you have your tickets? And I was like, well, we have 1. And she's like, and she looked at it and she saw the date, and she was like, everything kind of closed in on itself. And then she's like, well... And then we told her what happened. We told her that we had gone through and they didn't check our tickets. We were honest. She was like, okay, go back outside the park. Show them your tickets at the exterior ticketing booth. Why she couldn't do it, it's a mystery to this fucking day. Show your tickets there. And they'll give you wristbands. We're like, okay. So we had to go back to our locker, get Murloc's ticket, leave the park, go back around, go back to the front of the park, and be like, hey, can we get our wristbands? Like we're brand new people at the park. And so we do that. And we've been wandering around for an hour and a half by that point, trying to figure out what the fuck is what. I'd like to catch this. I'd like it to not fail. I don't have booth line yet. Monka W. Monka W. Monka W. Damn it! Alright, it's fine. So we go up to the exterior ticket booth after an hour and a half of wandering around. And we're like, we'd like to get into the park. And so she goes, okay, can I see your tickets? And so we give her the tickets. And she scans them. And then does a fucking triple take. And goes, these are expired, we can't accept these. Now, if this had happened before we had gotten in the park, if the wristband so here's what actually happened. I put it together by this point. What actually happened was the person who was supposed to check our tickets when we went in the park initially, they were supposed to check our tickets. They were supposed to check if we had a wristband or not. And they didn't check. So they let us in the park without a wristband. So they didn't do their job. And it caused all sorts of confusion because we couldn't go on rides or do anything. And so if that had all happened when we had gotten to the park, if we had gotten to the park and I had been like, alright, let's go inside. And then they were like, we don't have wristbands. And we were like, oh, okay, let's go get wristbands. And then that was the first instance. And then they were like, these are expired, you can't use them. I would have been like, okay, fine, we'll buy tickets, whatever, not a big deal. But by that point, it had been an hour and a half. I was freaking annoyed. And so I turned to Murloc before we go to the ticket booth. And I was like, if they don't accept these expired tickets, are you okay with me being difficult with them? And he goes, absolutely. And I was like, great. So I kind of entered Karen mode. Just a little bit. And so I was like, I was like, I kind of acted surprised at first. I was like, really? You can't accept tickets? And I know I'm out of line because these are 6-year-old fucking tickets. Like, no shit, they can't take them. But I'm like, I've watched enough YouTube videos of people sneaking into things where I kind of know the ins and outs. And so I'm like, really? You can't accept these? You can't help us out? And she goes, no, I'm sorry. And Murloc at this point is like, well, whatever. And he has the app open to buy tickets because it's $5 cheaper to buy the tickets on the app than at the ticketing booth. And so he had the app ready, so we didn't have to panic for $10. I'm like, no, hold on. He goes, yeah. They were like, where'd you get these tickets? And Murloc goes, yeah, my family gave them to us. I don't know where they got them from. But on the envelope with the tickets that Murloc got from his aunt, she had written on the envelope, these never expire. Even though there is a clear expiration date of 2016 on them. And so at that point, I cut Murloc off. I'm like, I know that his family has gotten in here with expired tickets before, and we want to use these. And she's like, oh, okay. Let me talk to my manager. I'm like, great. So I'm officially the let's talk to the manager guy, by the way. So you can make fun of me for that. So we go in the shade. Her manager comes out. And we go through the exact same song and dance. The exact same conversation to a T. We get to the exact same point. And then she goes, okay, let me talk to my manager. And I'm like, wait, then who the fuck are you? And so she goes back. It goes on her walkie-talkie for like another 10 minutes. And she comes back out. And she's like, we really can't take these. And I don't remember what I said. I think I repeated myself. I was like, I know his family has used expired tickets before. And she goes, okay, let me talk to him one more time. And she goes back, doesn't talk to anyone, just grabs the wristbands and goes, "Here you go." She was so done with my shit. She was like, "I don't fucking care or have time for this." She didn't say that, but you could tell. She's like, "Just take them." And I was like, "Thanks." And I was nice about it. I was like, afterwards, I revealed that we'd gotten to the park and they hadn't checked our wristbands, and it caused a whole fuss. And then she kind of felt bad, and it was fine. But oh my god, that was the hell of a story. That's how Marlock and I got kicked out of water park, and then kicked back into a water park. So.